Hi YouTube, it's Melissa. I'm back and I'm going to share some photos that I plan to scrapbook next, and also I plan on doing a 12 by 12 layout, so here we go. So my husband back in May and April had a couple surgeries and then a follow-up surgery. So I'm going to scrapbook this event because it's been a couple years since he's had to deal with his kidney issues. So when it printed these photos in color, and so I tried to pull some of the things that some of the colors I saw. And one of the things, remember, I like to do is use a collection to do the work for me, or a pattern paper to do the work for me. So very frequently I gravitate towards this My Mind's Eye Adventure Pack. The color in here is obviously very masculine for me. So I went to here. I wanted to pull in some blues because there is blue in both photographs. So I pulled this really old, oops, this is from Basic Gray and super old. So there's this blue, brown, kind of like a little mixed media that's white on the back. So gonna use this. This is one of my little homemade geotags. I put it there. This is one of the Studio Calico, one of those acetate frames. I'm going to potentially use this. I'm also going to pull one of my paper bags because I'm going to do some hidden journaling. So I'm going to have that. I went through my stuff and just kind of pulled some things with the colors of here. So the yellows, the creams, those types of things. Also pulled this green from my stash. I have no idea where it's from. It's just in my little scrap folder. I went and pulled some other stuff from my Keep It Real. This is a little acetate piece. Not sure what I'll use. And then I went into my little containers and just pulled embellishments, word stickers, those types of things that I could, I mean, obviously we're going to keep it just very, I mean, it's not going to be very playful or anything because it's talking about something, that he had to deal with. So, and looking through my stash, I have one get well, or, sorry you're feeling sick and speedy recovery type stamp. So we're going to see if I can incorporate this. I know I have several get well soon type stamps and other sentiment options. So yeah, we will see. Stay tuned. Thanks, guys. Bye. Hi, YouTube. I'm back. I have the layout finished, and I will disclose right up front that it's not my favorite, but there are some positives. I did get a whole sheet of paper out of my stash, and I also used up a bunch of scraps of paper. So yeah, let's just dive right in. So here is an up-close look, and then down here. So, okay, so like I mentioned, this paper I was trying to use because it had, I don't know, I just felt like it worked well. So on the top, to kind of like lighten it up a little bit, because I felt like some areas were really dark, I actually took this Tim Holtz, this is called Bubble Stencil, and then I again took my HeroX Unicorn and just lightened it up in some areas just to add a little texture and bring down some of that brown. So up here in the corner, you can see I have a little cluster, and that I made. So I pulled from all of these scraps. This is an old My Mind's Eye pad of paper, mentioned in the first part of the video. From the Crate Paper Maggie Holmes open book, there's this big frame. I just cut it with pattern paper. I cut the ticket with pattern paper or brown cardstock, one of the two. I backed it up with just some scrap from here. And then this is a sticker from Simple Stories, like a summer collection. I wrapped some twine around this, some crochet twine, which I have an abundance of. And then I added two stickers. One says "It is what it is," and one says "Now or never." I added at the end, just to distress it a little, just some clay, Studio Calico, Mr. Huey's. And then over here, I just made some photo corners for behind with the red paper. I added a piece of yellow here, a glassine bag that was just in my stash, probably had some flair or something in it. This little thing here, you can't see it very well on camera, but I used Lawn Fawn stitch rectangles, and then I also used the Lawn Fawn hearts, and I used my tiny attacher with some vellum, folded it over, and then added some glossy accents. There's my photo. There's some old studio calico, little wood veneer. This is a geotag. This is Thinking of You, and this is So It Goes. This Feeling Better was from this Lawn Fawn on the Men's stamp set, and I used My Favorite Things file folder edges to make the little tab. So, and these are more scraps of paper, 6x6. If you can't tell, I just pieced them together. I mean, you know, just made them wonky. Try Again is from My Mind's Eye, one of their stickers. And then here I put my journaling. So on this one, it's just a Project Life card. I added my journaling. And then on this back one, it's just a October Afternoon tab sticker. It says You and Me because it was just him and I at the hospital and stuff. And I just put it on a piece of cardstock back there, so it, you know, just had another element as far as, I don't know, like a layered piece. So I like the way that looks. And the blue matches in this. And then here we go again. This is from Kohl's ABCs, one of my favorites, as you know. And then I cut it with a espresso brown cardstock from Stampin' Up. These were just some scraps from my stash. I added glossy accents on this as well. I also added glossy accents in this heart. And I backed it with the red, added it there. And then the bottom here, this little edge, it's called a postal edge, postage stamp, EK Success. And that's it. That finishes my layout, and it's going to go in my book. And like I said, I like the way the layout turned out, but, you know, not a fan of this paper. But you know what? It's gone. It's out of my stash, and that's perfect. So yeah, thanks for watching. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. And also, I have a Facebook page, Cut It Up Creations. I'd love for you to visit and like my page. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Bye.